It was an ordinary evening in Chicago, and Clint Eastwood had just finished a long day of meetings. Seeking a quiet place to relax and enjoy a good meal, he decided to visit a popular local restaurant known for its warm atmosphere and excellent food. Clint walked in casually, wearing a simple but unique necklace, a piece that held personal meaning for him. It wasn't flashy or ostentatious, but it caught the eye of several people in the room. He greeted the host politely and waited to be seated, looking forward to a peaceful evening. As Clint settled into his chair near the window, a subtle tension began to build. What started as a normal night soon took an unexpected turn. The restaurant manager, a man known for his strict attitude, noticed Clint's necklace almost immediately. Something about it seemed to irritate the manager, though it wasn't clear why. Without warning, the manager approached Clint's table with a stern expression. His voice was sharp, almost accusing. "Sir, I need to speak with you about that necklace you're wearing," he said. Clint looked up, surprised by the sudden confrontation. The manager's tone left no room for misunderstanding. It was clear he wasn't happy, and his anger was palpable. Patrons nearby began to glance over, sensing the brewing conflict. Clint remained calm but curious. What could be so wrong about a simple necklace? "What's the issue?" Clint asked quietly, hoping to diffuse the tension. The manager didn't answer right away. Instead, his eyes narrowed as if the necklace represented something offensive or unacceptable. The atmosphere thickened with unease. Unbeknownst to Clint, the necklace had triggered an unfair judgment, a prejudice that was about to change the course of his evening dramatically. The question that everyone watching silently wondered was, what had Clint done to deserve such treatment? And what would happen next? Hook for viewers. What happened next was totally unexpected, and it all started because of this necklace. Clint Eastwood sat calmly at the restaurant table, the tension between him and the furious manager growing thicker by the second. The manager's eyes remained fixed on the necklace around Clint's neck, his face a mix of suspicion and irritation. It was hard to tell exactly what was bothering him, but one thing was clear. This wasn't going to be an ordinary evening. The manager leaned in closer, lowering his voice but with an unmistakable edge. "That necklace, where did you get it? Are you sure it's appropriate to wear here?" His words felt less like questions and more like accusations. Clint raised an eyebrow, a mixture of confusion and patience showing on his face. "I'm just here to have dinner," Clint replied evenly. "It's a personal item. I don't see why it should be an issue." The manager's jaw tightened. Around them, diners began to notice the escalating situation. A few exchanged glances, whispering quietly. Clint's composure was steady, but even he could feel the weight of the eyes now trained on him. The manager's tone shifted, becoming more aggressive. "We have rules here. Some things just aren't allowed. I'm asking you politely to remove it." Clint shook his head gently. "I'm sorry, but I'm not going to do that. It's part of who I am." By this point, other restaurant staff were looking over nervously. The manager's face reddened with frustration, clearly unaccustomed to being challenged. A few nearby customers pulled out their phones, sensing a story unfolding. Cameras quietly started recording the interaction, capturing every word and expression. Clint noticed the phones but didn't let it distract him. He knew that staying calm was the best way to handle the unfair confrontation. Instead of escalating anger, he responded with respect and firmness. The manager's voice rose, drawing more attention. "Sir, if you don't take that off, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." Clint met the man's glare evenly. Is this really about a necklace? Or is there something else going on here? The room seemed to hold its breath. A few people whispered, wondering aloud if this was discrimination disguised as policy. The manager's furious stance made it clear he wasn't interested in listening. As the confrontation grew, the restaurant's atmosphere shifted. What had been a welcoming environment now felt tense and uncomfortable. Patrons were divided, some supporting Clint silently, others unsure how to react. At this moment, the restaurant's policy seemed to blur under the weight of the manager's personal bias. Clint's necklace, a simple item, had become the symbol of a larger issue. Judgment without cause. The man who once admired Clint for his legendary career and calm demeanor now saw only an inconvenience, a person to be removed because of appearance. Yet, Clint remained unshaken. He took a slow breath and addressed the room, his voice calm but carrying the weight of his experience. We all come here for the same reason, to enjoy good food and company. Nobody should be judged or kicked out because of what they wear or how they look. Some customers nodded quietly, their support evident. Others whispered agreement or shook their heads in disbelief at the manager's behavior. In the growing crowd of watchers, the conversation online had already started. Clips from people's phones began to spread quickly on social media platforms. Comments poured in from viewers all over the world, engagement prompt for viewers. Have you ever been judged unfairly because of something you wore or how you looked? Tell us your story in the comments and let us know which city or country you're watching this from. Back inside the restaurant, the manager's fury seemed to intensify. His face was now flushed with embarrassment and anger as he realized that the situation was slipping from his control. A few staff members exchanged uneasy glances, clearly uncomfortable with how things were unfolding. Meanwhile, Clint's calm demeanor only seemed to grow stronger with each passing moment. He understood something crucial. This was no longer just about a necklace. It was about respect, dignity, and standing firm in the face of unfair treatment. The manager, feeling cornered, barked one last demand. You have to leave, now. Clint stood up slowly, collected himself, and nodded. Without a word, he turned toward the exit. But as he walked past tables full of watching diners, he caught sight of several people quietly applauding him, though forced out. Clint's quiet dignity had already won the respect of many. Outside the restaurant, the air was cooler, but the atmosphere electric. Phones buzzed continuously with notifications. Social media was abuzz with videos and messages supporting Clint. People from Chicago, the United States, and across the globe were sharing their outrage at the unfair treatment and applauding Clint's calm response. Clint took a moment to gather himself, reflecting on the injustice but also on the power of standing up respectfully. This incident wasn't just a personal challenge. It was a spotlight on a larger problem of judgment based on appearances, a problem many people face daily. And Clint Eastwood, in his quiet, unshakable way, had already turned the moment into a powerful message about respect and fairness. After being firmly told to leave the restaurant by the furious manager, Clint Eastwood slowly gathered his things. The stunned crowd watched as he calmly rose from his seat, his face composed but thoughtful. Despite the humiliation, Clint's demeanor showed quiet strength. He wasn't angry, at least not visibly, but inside the experience stung deeply. As Clint made his way to the exit, murmurs of support from some patrons followed him. Others shook their heads in disbelief at how the manager had handled the situation. The restaurant's once welcoming atmosphere had turned cold and tense. Outside, the cool Chicago air greeted Clint as he stepped out, but the heaviness of the moment stayed with him. A close friend who had accompanied him that evening caught up with him immediately, worry etched on their face. Clint, are you okay? Do you want to talk about what just happened? They asked gently. Clint paused, taking a deep breath. It's disappointing, but I'm okay. Sometimes people let their fears and biases take control. That manager was angry not because of me, but because he saw something he didn't understand or like. His friend nodded, but remained concerned. Still, it's hard not to feel hurt when you're treated unfairly. What if your family had been there? What if the kids saw this? Clint smiled faintly, the warmth in his eyes softening the moment. I thought about that too. That's why I stayed calm. If I'd lost my temper, it wouldn't have helped. I wanted to show them that dignity is stronger than anger. For a moment, the two stood silently, the sounds of the city bustling around them. Clint's calm resolve was a reminder of how important it is to keep grace under pressure, even when the world feels unfair. Meanwhile, back inside the restaurant, whispers continued among the staff and customers. Some questioned the manager's judgment, wondering if this incident would harm the restaurant's reputation. Others felt sympathy for Clint, recognizing the injustice. On social media, the videos captured by onlookers were rapidly gaining traction. Comments poured in from all over, people expressing outrage, support, and sharing their own stories of discrimination or unfair treatment. The story was no longer just about a necklace or a restaurant manager. It had become a conversation about respect, tolerance, and how society treats those who look or act differently. Engagement prompt What would you do if your family was worried, but you felt you had to stand up for yourself? Comment brave if you believe courage means standing your ground even when it's tough. As Clint reflected on the evening's events, he realized the importance of using his experience to inspire change. He had faced unfairness many times in life, but this moment felt like a turning point. It wasn't just about personal pride. It was about setting an example for others who might face similar situations. He knew that in times of conflict, many people react with anger or fear. But Clint believed there was a better way, to respond with calmness, confidence, and integrity. That was the true power of strength. Later that night, Clint sat with his family and shared the story. His loved ones expressed concern and pride all at once. Concern for the pain he'd felt, but pride in his unwavering dignity. His wife gently placed a hand on his shoulder. "You did the right thing. Sometimes standing up means staying calm, even when it hurts the most." Clint smiled and nodded. "Exactly. It's not easy, but it's necessary." This experience wasn't just an isolated incident. It was a reflection of deeper issues that many people face daily: being judged unfairly, being misunderstood, and being treated differently because of something as simple as appearance. Clint's story was becoming a beacon of hope for those who felt powerless. It showed that courage isn't always about loud confrontation. It can be quiet strength and grace under pressure. Outside the restaurant, the world was watching. Millions had seen the video clips online. Many were moved by Clint's reaction. Some offered messages of support and solidarity, while others shared their own stories of overcoming prejudice. The incident sparked discussions about how society treats people and how important it is to foster respect and understanding. For Clint, the journey wasn't over. He knew he had to use this moment to remind people that respect isn't something earned by appearance or status. It's a basic right for every individual. As the days passed, Clint's calm response continued to inspire people worldwide. He became a symbol of dignity and courage, a reminder that sometimes the greatest power lies in keeping your composure when faced with unfairness. And while the manager's anger may have momentarily overshadowed the evening, Clint's message of respect and strength shone through, lighting a path for others to follow. Part 4. Reflection and Public Reaction. Clint Eastwood's message spreads. The days following Clint Eastwood's unexpected removal from the Chicago restaurant were filled with a mix of emotions, not just for Clint himself, but for everyone who had witnessed the incident, either in person or through the countless videos circulating online. At home, Clint took time to reflect deeply on what had happened. The unfair treatment he faced wasn't just about a necklace or a strict restaurant policy. It was about something much bigger: prejudice, snap judgments, and the way people can be judged unfairly based on appearances or misunderstood symbols. As he sat quietly, surrounded by family photos and memories, Clint considered how many others must have faced similar or worse situations. People who don't have the platform or the public recognition to stand up for themselves. People who are made to feel small or unwelcome simply because of how they look or what they choose to wear. Clint's thoughts were interrupted by the constant buzz of his phone, messages from fans, friends and strangers alike, all expressing support and sharing how much his calm response had inspired them. The videos from that night had gone viral, reaching viewers around the world. People from Chicago, across the United States, and even overseas were talking about the incident. Comments flooded in. "Thank you for showing us that dignity is stronger than anger. It's heartbreaking that things like this still happen, but you handled it with grace. We need more people like Clint Eastwood standing up quietly against unfairness." The public reaction brought new energy to Clint. He realized this wasn't just his story anymore. It was a story about respect, fairness, and the simple right to be treated with dignity. Meanwhile, the restaurant faced a growing backlash. Loyal customers questioned the manager's harshness and the policies that allowed such an incident to happen. Local news outlets picked up the story, interviewing patrons who had witnessed the confrontation. Many expressed shock and disappointment. The restaurant manager, once brash and confrontational, found himself under pressure to respond. But the public was clear. The way Clint was treated was unacceptable. In the middle of this, Clint remained humble. He didn't want the attention to be about him personally or to punish anyone. Instead, he wanted the focus to be on a larger conversation about respect and understanding. In a heartfelt statement released through his social media, Clint said, "No one should ever be judged or made to feel unwelcome because of what they wear or how they look. We all deserve kindness and respect, no exceptions. This experience has shown me that sometimes the smallest things, a necklace, a glance, a word, can become symbols of much deeper issues. I hope we can all learn from this and treat each other better." His words resonated widely. People began sharing their own stories of unfair treatment and prejudice, sparking important discussions in communities everywhere. Engagement prompt. Have you ever witnessed or experienced discrimination or unfair judgment? Share your story below or simply type "respect" if you believe everyone deserves to be treated fairly. Clint also took the opportunity to speak at a local community event focused on promoting tolerance and respect. His presence drew a crowd eager to hear from someone who had experienced injustice but responded with strength and grace. During his speech, Clint emphasized the power of calmness and integrity in the face of conflict. "Strength isn't just about physical power or loud words," he told the audience. "True strength is in how we treat others, especially when it's difficult." The event was widely covered by local media, further amplifying Clint's message. Schools, community groups, and social organizations began using the story to teach lessons about empathy and fairness. Back at the restaurant, the atmosphere had changed. The owner issued a formal apology, promising to review staff training and policies to ensure respect for all customers, regardless of appearance. While the manager who confronted Clint faced disciplinary action, many hoped this would be a moment of learning rather than just punishment. Clint's experience became a catalyst for change, showing how a single incident, handled with dignity, could spark conversations and lead to progress. Yet, Clint never lost sight of humility. He remained focused on the bigger picture, helping society move towards greater kindness and understanding. As the story continued to unfold, Clint was invited to join panels and discussions about discrimination and respect in public spaces. His voice, calm yet powerful, inspired many to stand up, not necessarily with anger, but with courage and grace. The necklace that had caused so much trouble became a symbol, not of division, but of the need to look beyond appearances and treat every person with fairness. Clint often reflected on that night in Chicago, knowing it would stay with him forever, not because of the anger or the humiliation, but because of the lessons learned and the positive impact that followed. His story reminded everyone watching that even in moments of unfairness, there is the opportunity to inspire change and promote respect. After the incident at the Chicago restaurant and the subsequent public reaction, Clint Eastwood found himself at the center of a conversation much bigger than a single night. The unfair treatment he faced, being kicked out simply because of a necklace, was a painful reminder that judgment based on appearance still affects many people every day. But Clint wasn't content to let the moment pass quietly. He felt a responsibility to use his experience to shine a light on the deeper issues at play: prejudice, unfair treatment, and the need for respect. In interviews and public appearances following the event, Clint spoke candidly and calmly about what had happened. He didn't just recount the story of being kicked out. He spoke about the larger message it carried. "People need to understand," Clint said in one interview, "that respect is not something you give only to those you like or understand. It's a basic human right. Judging someone based on how they look, what they wear, or where they come from is wrong. It's discrimination." His words struck a chord with many. In a world often divided by misunderstandings and quick judgments, Clint's call for fairness and dignity was a breath of fresh air. The restaurant incident had sparked outrage online, with countless people sharing their own stories of being judged unfairly or mistreated because of something as simple as their appearance. The hashtag #RespectForAll trended on social media, fueled by Clint's message. During a panel discussion organized by a community group focused on equality and justice, Clint took the stage alongside activists and leaders. "When I was asked to leave that restaurant," Clint told the audience, "it was not just about me. It was about every person who has ever been made to feel unwelcome or lesser because of something they can't control or choose freely. This necklace for me is a symbol of identity and respect. But it became a target for prejudice. He paused, letting the words sink in. We need to teach our children that kindness and understanding are stronger than fear and judgment. We need to hold businesses and individuals accountable when they let bias dictate their actions. That's how we build a better society. The crowd responded with applause, many nodding in agreement. Clint's calm but commanding presence made it clear that this wasn't just a momentary statement. It was a call for ongoing change. Meanwhile, the restaurant's management faced mounting pressure to address not only the incident, but also the culture that allowed such behavior. Staff training programs on diversity and inclusion were introduced, and public apologies were issued. Clint's response, however, remained focused on education rather than punishment. I don't want to see anyone lose their job, he explained. I want to see people learn and grow. That's the real victory. In the weeks that followed, Clint participated in various interviews, podcasts, and community events, consistently emphasizing the importance of empathy and respect. His message was simple but powerful. No one should ever be judged or excluded based on appearance, and everyone deserves to be treated with dignity. Engagement prompt. Have you ever stood up against unfair treatment? Share your story below or type equality if you believe everyone deserves respect. At home, Clint continued to reflect on the experience. The incident had been painful, but it had also opened doors for important conversations. He hoped that by sharing his story, others might find the courage to face injustice with calm and strength. He remembered his family's support during the ordeal, their pride in how he handled the situation. And it reminded him that courage is often about more than just the moment. It's about the values we hold every day. As public interest in the story grew, Clint was approached by organizations seeking his involvement in campaigns promoting respect and anti-discrimination. He welcomed the opportunity, eager to contribute to change beyond the headlines. Through his advocacy, Clint became a symbol not just of resilience, but of the power of respectful courage, a reminder that true strength lies in standing firm without losing your humanity. And as the conversations continued, Clint's simple necklace remained a quiet emblem of that message, a call to look beyond appearances and treat each other with fairness and kindness. The story of Clint Eastwood being kicked out of the Chicago restaurant because of his necklace had spread far and wide, sparking intense conversations about respect, fairness, and the dangers of snap judgments. Yet, even as the public discussion grew, something crucial was about to happen that would change the entire tone of the incident and shift the power completely. On a busy afternoon, just a few days after the incident, Clint received a call from an unexpected source. A fellow restaurant employee who had witnessed the confrontation but had remained silent until now. I just want to set things right, the voice on the other end said quietly. The manager was wrong to treat you that way. We all knew who you were, but the manager didn't listen. I'm sorry it happened like that. This call marked the beginning of a turning point. Word spread among the restaurant staff. Many employees felt embarrassed and upset about how their manager had handled the situation, especially once Clint's identity became widely known. They admired him not just as a Hollywood legend, but as a person of dignity and strength who had handled a difficult moment with grace. Then, in a moment caught on camera by a nearby diner, the restaurant manager was seen publicly apologizing to Clint. The manager's tone was humbler than before, and his words showed a clear understanding of his mistake. I want to sincerely apologize to Mr. Eastwood and anyone else who was affected by what happened here. It was wrong, and I am committed to making sure this never happens again. The crowd that had gathered inside the restaurant responded with a mix of relief and applause. The atmosphere, once heavy with tension, now shifted toward healing and respect. For many, this moment was symbolic. It wasn't just about an apology, it was about accountability and recognizing the harm caused by prejudice. Clint accepted the apology graciously, but used the moment to remind everyone of the bigger picture. This isn't just about me, he said calmly. It's about all of us learning to treat each other with kindness and fairness, no matter what we wear or how we look. Respect isn't given because of fame or status. It's a right every person deserves. The public response to the manager's apology was overwhelmingly positive. Social media buzzed with messages of support for Clint and calls for businesses everywhere to train their staff better in diversity and inclusion. Many viewers shared their own stories of being judged unfairly or mistreated, sparking a broader conversation about systemic issues that go beyond one incident. Engagement prompt. Have you ever seen someone stand up to injustice and inspire others? Share your story or simply type "respect" if you believe everyone deserves to be treated fairly. Meanwhile, the restaurant owner announced new policies designed to prevent similar situations in the future. They promised improved training programs focused on respect, empathy, and understanding diversity. Clint's message was clear. Moments like these are opportunities for growth, not just punishment. In interviews following the apology, Clint emphasized the importance of humility and learning from mistakes. "We all make errors," he said. "What matters is how we respond. Whether we choose to grow and make amends, or continue to let bias and fear control us." The story reached schools, community groups, and workplaces, where it was used as an example in discussions about respect and inclusion. For Clint, the incident was a reminder that even when facing injustice, it's possible to inspire positive change by standing firm with dignity. He continued to encourage others to speak out against unfairness, not with anger, but with courage and calm. The necklace, once a source of conflict, became a symbol of resilience and hope. And as the public rallied behind Clint's message, the tables had truly turned. Where once there was humiliation and exclusion, now there was respect and understanding. Clint's story reminded everyone watching that standing up for justice doesn't always mean confrontation. It can mean patience, integrity, and the strength to forgive. In the end, the incident was no longer just about a necklace or a restaurant. It was a powerful lesson on empathy and the importance of seeing each other as human beings deserving of dignity. The incident at the Chicago restaurant had sparked a global conversation. What started as a tense moment over a necklace quickly transformed into a powerful story about respect, dignity, and standing up to unfair treatment with grace. As video clips and news stories about Clint Eastwood's experience spread across social media platforms, millions of people watched, shared, and commented. The overwhelming response was one of support, not just for Clint, but for the message he embodied. People from all walks of life related to the story. Many shared their own experiences of being judged unfairly or treated differently because of their appearance, culture, or personal style. The story encouraged countless others to speak out against discrimination and to advocate for kindness and fairness in their own communities. Clint's calm and dignified handling of the situation became an example of how strength can be quiet but powerful. Instead of reacting with anger or bitterness, Clint showed that standing your ground with respect can be even more impactful. The restaurant where the incident occurred faced significant public scrutiny. Management worked hard to repair the damage by implementing new training focused on diversity and customer respect. The manager who had confronted Clint was held accountable and took part in these educational efforts, showing that growth and change are possible. Clint himself became a symbol of resilience and integrity. He continued to use his platform to raise awareness about prejudice and to encourage empathy. In interviews and public talks, Clint reminded everyone that respect is not earned by fame or status. It's a fundamental right. His message was simple but profound. Judge less, understand more. The story also inspired many to reconsider how they treat others. Teachers used it as a lesson in classrooms to discuss bullying and acceptance. Community leaders referenced it when advocating for equality and inclusion. Most importantly, Clint's story reminded people that even when faced with unfairness, you have the power to respond with dignity and to inspire positive change. Final engagement prompt. If you believe no one should be judged by appearance, type respect in the comments and subscribe for more inspiring stories like this one. For Clint, the experience was more than a personal challenge. It was a moment of growth and a call to action. It showed that even small acts, like wearing a necklace, can shine a light on bigger social issues. His calm courage inspired millions to stand tall in the face of adversity and to treat others with kindness. And as the world continues to watch, and learn from Clint's story. One thing remains clear: respect is a universal language, and everyone deserves to be heard, seen, and valued.